Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by Merrimack sophomore Declan Carlile. Welcome to the podcast, Declan, and how's everything going?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Everything's going pretty good. We got hit with a big snowstorm last night, but other than that, it's been doing pretty good.
Yeah, and I just heard that you were nominated for the Hobie Baker Award. How does that feel to be nominated for that honor, I guess?
Yeah, it's a really good feeling. It's something that I definitely couldn't have done without my teammates and the program here and my coaches. So hats off to them, and I can't thank them enough for everything that they've done.
Is it cool to be nominated with your teammate Alex Jeffries for this award?
Yeah, it's really cool, especially this year. We're kind of not. It's tough getting to see everyone all the time. So I haven't. Me and Jeff kind of we get hang out when we can at the rink, but other than that, we can't really do too much more. So kind of getting to share that with him is a cool bonding and cool experience together.
Yeah, and you can vote for Declan at the Hobie Baker Award website, and you just vote for him. And please vote for him. He's such a great player, and he deserves to get recognized for his accomplishments. Now, obviously, this year's college hockey season has been a lot different than normal. What are some of the challenges you have faced this year, and how have you tried to overcome some of those challenges?
Yeah, it's more of like a mental thing. I think it's especially for me at the beginning of the year. I did his first 4 games just due to contact tracing and COVID protocols and things like that. So just kind of taking it day by day, not thinking too much about the weekend. Our league just changed to every single week. We don't even know who we're playing until Monday. So, and that's if we even play the last few weeks. We've played Northeastern 2 or 3 times now, scheduled to play someone else, changed the day before, and all of a sudden that all the pre-scouting, everything that you did the whole week is kind of scrapped and thrown at the door. And it's just something that you have to adapt to. And that's definitely been something that's been really weird this year for me personally, and I think for a lot of other people too.
Yeah, how do you deal with all those schedule changes, especially in hockey East, not knowing who you're going to play until the week before, basically? And what's the key for maintaining flexibility for this season?
I think it's just taking it day by day, not stressing too much. I think our team's more focused on how we're playing more than the pre-scouting of another team. So just things like that, I think, are just ways that we can kind of get through it. And at the end of the day, both teams end up going through it anyway. So it's just kind of the name of the game this year. So just got to get through it.
Yeah, and your team's played a lot of ranked teams throughout your regular season. How have you dealt with that as well? Because not a lot of teams have faced that, unlike Merrimack.
Yeah, it's Hockey East. We all those teams. This our conference always has those teams in it, and every single night any team can win. So I think it's great for our team, especially being a younger team, kind of getting more experience early on in the year. Changing the format this year that every team's making the playoffs in our conference is big for us. Um, it's just things like that. Being able to play those high caliber teams and kind of seeing where we're at has been really nice this year.
Now, what's it like to play this season without any fans? And has that been an adjustment for yourself?
Yeah, it's been a little weird. I kind of used empty rinks. I played AAA hockey back in Michigan, where we'd play at the Joe Louis Arena, where we'd get 10 people there in a full size rink. So things like that. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience. Kind of doing the starting lineup, having no one there. Kind of just it's always quiet for the most part. But I think we would do well, but definitely hope we get fans back in there pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that has been introduced to college hockey this year is 3-on-3 overtime. What has that been like for yourself, being an offensive player and having more space and having more scoring opportunities to score goals?
Yeah, I think it's great. Last year was definitely frustrating, kind of ending in ties and having 5-on-5 things. Um, but yeah, I think it's been good all around, and it's been pretty fun. So I like it. We've had two since I've been playing so far, and 8 games. So it's been great.
Yeah, definitely. I love it as well. I hate ties, and I think it shows the skill of the league when all those players can have more space on the ice and have more opportunities to score goals. But I think it also shows the defensive side of players as well, because if you make one little defensive mistake, it can cause an odd man rush.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, you just had a series against UConn last weekend where you got swept. Talk about what you think went wrong during that series, and how will you use that series to help your team for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough weekend for us personally. It was just, I think, going in, we beat UNH last weekend, lost them to shootout, kind of starting to find our groove. Played a good weekend before against BC. Kind of think we just went into the weekend a little unprepared and not expecting as good of a team as we did. And UConn's a great team this year, and I think we just had to be better. We had to be crisper. It's tough. It was tough to score goals for us this weekend, and I think more going into this weekend, we got Providence Saturday, Sunday, another great team. I think we got to get to the net more. We got to get more shots on net, and we just got to clean up our D zone too. It was a little too sloppy last weekend. But other than that, I think we're a good team, and I think we can take on anyone any weekend. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, watching that series last weekend, one thing I noticed about your team was you took a lot of penalty minutes, especially in the second period in the first game. How do you try to clean that up?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something that's been preached this week so far. Just discipline in general. Um, I think on Friday we got a little frustrated, but Saturday is kind of no excuse there. We shouldn't have. We start the game taking two penalties early. It's tough to recover from that. So I think it's just guys kind of barreling down, not using their stick as much, and just kind of figuring it out and staying out of the box.
Now, on a more positive note, what is the biggest improvement you've made to your game so far this season compared to last year?
I think my skating in general has just gotten better. I mean, I'm a lefty. I'm a left shot D that plays the right side. It's a little different, kind of pivoting and like opening my hips that way. It just doesn't feel as natural as playing on my strong side. And just in general, my footwork. I think that's kind of always been a knock on me coming into college, and then even a little bit last year. So something that I tried to clean up in the summer, and what I've been doing here since I've been here so far.
Yeah, and how do the freshmen look like in your eyes, and how have you helped their transition into college hockey, especially since this is a year that you've never experienced before?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all great guys. I love all of them. I mean, it's definitely tough. Like I said earlier, it's just not being able to hang out with them as much. Kind of not seeing them as much. I'm not getting like the full college experience. Kind of wavering them. I think it'd be tough living. Personally, I live in an apartment with some of my other teammates, but I couldn't imagine being them right now, living in the freshman dorms and not being able to see anybody or talk to anybody or do anything like that. Um, just things like them. I think myself and everyone else in the team has been pretty welcoming. I mean, invite them over, let them hang out, let them have some people that they can talk to, things like that. So uh, that's kind of how we handle it here. So
And being a sophomore on the team, what type of leadership do you want to bring, and what did you learn from past leaders that have helped your leadership skills for this season?
yeah, I mean, I think personally, I've kind of always felt myself as a leader, kind of everywhere that I go. I think me personally, I've been kind of a rookie last 3 years in a row now. So this is my first year where I'm not a freshman, I'm not a rookie. So I think just letting people like I think you just need someone to talk to right now, especially this year. Just kind of talk it out and figure things out together. And then leadership on the ice, I think, is just more leading by example, especially this year. Just you got to dig in, battle hard because you never know when your last game of the season is going to be. So I think it's just one of those things.
Yeah, and talk about what it's like to play in Hockey East, and just what's it like playing in that conference versus other conference you have faced? Because in my opinion, it's the best conference in college hockey.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I mean, playing playing the BCs, the BUs, the Providences, the UMasses, the UMass law, everyone in our conferences, every single night's a close game, an unbelievable night, and it's crazy and it's a grind, especially this year. You don't get those out of conferences games where you kind of get a little break from someone that you're playing. Like you're playing all these teams three times, starting rivalries that you never really had before. things like that. And it's just I love playing in this conference. I think it's like you said the best conference in college hockey, and it's an honor to play in it. So
I want to start off talking about the beginning of your hockey career. You're from Michigan. How did you start playing hockey and falling in love with the sport?
yeah, so my dad's from Toronto or Caledon, Ontario, and so he kind of put me in the skates at a young age, and he moved down to live with my mom, and just put me in skates at a young age, and ever since then, I just kind of fell in love with the sport. I think I haven't stopped. So
Yeah, and who was your favorite player growing up, and what part of their game did you admire the most?
yeah, that's kind of tough because I used to be a forward growing up, and I was always a Matt Sundin fan because I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Um, but I guess more recently, right now, I like Morgan Riley. I watch the Leafs all the time, so I'm a big Morgan Riley guy. I like how he plays. I like his offensive ability, but I think his D side's a little underappreciated sometimes. So, and I think like I would like to mount my game after his. Obviously, he's a little better skater than I am, but that's something that I want to achieve someday to be able to play like that. So.
Now, you played for the Wellington Dukes in the OJHL before you went to Merrimack. How did you get the opportunity to play there, and what did you take away from that experience?
Yeah, so that was kind of a crazy thing. So my roommate Zach Ewens, we played there together. His dad and my dad are best friends, growing up together. Didn't never really heard of Wellington or the Ontario Junior League. I got drafted by Fairbanks that year. I was 16 years old. It was just one of those things where it was a little too far away for me at the time. Um, so his dad gave my dad a call and said they were looking for a D man up there, and they said that I could live with them, which is basically like living with my family. So it kind of just all fell into place pretty fast right at the end of the summer. Didn't kind of just got a call 2 weeks before camp, drove to camp, and ended up there. And that was probably that was probably the most fun year I've had playing hockey. We went all the way to the RBC Cup final that year with a great group of guys, and it was just an all around awesome time.
Yeah, and you then went on to play in the USHL for the Lincoln Stars and the Muskegon Lumberjacks. Talk about playing there, and how did that experience in the USHL help prepare you for college hockey?
Yeah, I think I loved playing in Ontario, but definitely taking going coming back here and playing. It was just the speed and just the size of everyone that plays in that league is. I mean, every single team has over 15 plus Division One commitments. You're playing pretty much college teams every single game that you're playing, so you're just kind of getting used. And also all the NHL draft picks that are already in that league and that end up getting drafted anyway. So just obviously like the speed and just the pace of the game really helped me prepare for school. Because personally, I thought playing in that league and then coming here, I thought just this league is a little more just everyone's obviously knows where they're being. You're playing with them all the time. No one's getting traded, so it's just like you're playing. You got more people that you know where they're going to be at. So it definitely helped me a lot in that aspect.
Yeah, what are some of the similarities and differences you experienced between the two organizations you played for in the USHL?
Yeah, so I had a blast in both of them. I loved my billets in Lincoln. They were unbelievable people. Same Muskegon. Definitely the difference was Lincoln's more of a city. Like it's got obviously University of Nebraska is right there, and they're huge football. But we also got a ton of fans all the time at Lincoln games. And then going to Muskegon, obviously it's 2 hours from my house. That was the first time I've been that close to my house in a long time. I could play on Saturday, be home on Sunday, and have dinner with my family that I never got to have for because I went to prep school, then a junior, so I was gone for 4 or 5 years before that already. Just things like that. And Muskegon was just a smaller community, but I love my billets there too, and the fan base there that year was great. So I have nothing but great things to say about both of them.
Now, you made the Clark Cup conference finals with Muskegon. Talk about that conference final, and what do you remember from it, even though you lost?
Yeah, we had a good team. It we went there. Chicago had a great team too. A couple good guys. Um, yeah, it's tough to remember now, but I just remember the playoff atmosphere was unbelievable at home. The road in Chicago was great. Um, it was tough. I remember we scored in game 4 to we had to win. We scored to tie it late. I think they might have scored like the first shift of overtime, which was tough, and that's something that I'll definitely remember. So
Now talk about your recruiting process and why did you choose to go to Merrimack?
yeah, so I committed to Merrimack when I played in Ontario. Kind of, kind of all fell into place for me pretty easy. And personally, Merrimack, they were one of the first schools to kind of give me the call and give me an offer at that age. And I thought I love the school. It's a smaller campus. It's in Hockey East, which is awesome. And then I thought it just gave me like the best opportunity to play right away. We had 16 freshmen last year. So coming into school right away, I knew that everyone's jobs were on the line. Everyone knew what you had to do right away when you got here. So I think it just gave me the best chance. And obviously the coaching staff is great. And so
What was the biggest adjustment you had to make to your game last year in your first year in college hockey? Was it the mental side of the game or was it more the physicality of the game, playing against guys that were 4 years older than you were?
yeah, I mean, I think that too, and kind of just the school part too. I took a year off of school to play juniors. I know guys take more, some guys take none, but I think that adjustment was definitely different going to 2 classes a day on top of all the other things that you have to do during the day. Um, but yeah, definitely the physicality, especially playing some teams like Duluth, Lowell, those they always had big bodies on their team every year. Playing those teams, it was definitely a challenge, but I'd say that was probably the biggest thing. But also mentally, it's just you have to be able to think the game that much faster. You have that much less time with the puck on your stick and things like that. So
Now, how do you balance the academics and hockey side of being a college student?
yeah, I think it's just being able to time manage. Personally, I have 2 classes in the morning. I have an 8 a.m. and a pretty much a 10 o'clock one every single day. They're back to back, and I just kind of pump them out early in the morning, and then we don't practice till later in the day. So I get a little time to myself, and then I can spend my time at the rink and things like that. So everyone's different. I know guys that like their night classes instead, and just like to do that. So it's all personal preference, I think.
Now, being a defender, who was the hardest player you had to defend in college hockey?
Oh man, we play so many good guys all the time. I mean, there's Newhook, Boldy, Caulfield, Turcotte, guys like that. I think are always just. I mean, they're all future NHLers, I think, and those guys are always tough to play against. So,
Yeah, and you blocked 67 shots last year. How do you manage to block all those shots, and what's the secret to it? Because I could never do something like that.
yeah, sometimes it just finds me. I think I wouldn't say I don't try to put my body there, but my body just kind of ends up being there sometimes. Doesn't always feel the greatest. I think a lot of it comes on just killing penalties and things like that. Just kind of knowing where the puck's going to go and being there before it gets there. And you're kind of just in that lane and you just take it. So, but yeah, it's definitely a sore job sometimes.
Definitely. Now, what's it like being a student athlete at a smaller university? Because I've talked to players from big schools and small schools, and I'm very curious of being a student athlete in a smaller university. What's just that like?
Yeah, you just personally, I like it because I get to kind of have a personal relationship with my teachers. Things like that is just kind of big for me. I always have a ton of questions to ask, and I know at a bigger school in a lecture hall that I probably wouldn't be the first one to be able to ask a question, or even at night when I'm doing homework and I need a question answered, I can just email one of my teachers, and for the most part, I always get a response that night just because it was such smaller classes. and things like that. You get to know the students in there more. You get to do like more group work and things like that. So I think that's something that I really like at a smaller school here.
Yeah, and the atmosphere at Lawler Rink is awesome. I've been there a few times, and I think being a player in that atmosphere must be really cool. What's that experience like for yourself?
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, our home opener against Wisconsin last year was awesome. It's not a huge rink, but we also aren't a huge school, so it fills up pretty good, and it gets really loud in there with the low ceiling. So it's definitely one of my favorite places to play. Obviously,
Now, your team didn't make the playoffs last season. Talk about what you think went wrong, and how are you going to use that, I guess, failure to help you for this year? Because I know all the teams in Hockey East are making the playoffs this year.
yeah, I think last year, I mean, we had 16 freshmen coming in. It was just every three freshman goalies too is big. It's just kind of everyone's had was having the same adjustment period, and I think things like that. I think we ended strong, sweeping Providence at the time. Like I think that was a huge win for us. That kind of led into this year. I mean, we beat UMass the first weekend of the year, so just things like that. Uh, but yeah, I wouldn't blame it on anything. Like I think the guys last year played enough games to be able to win some more. We had a lot of one goal games. I think just scoring was a problem last year. So just things like that that I think that we are on the right track to be correcting this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think Merrimack could be a great team in the future, and I think the sophomore class, especially right now, is really helping make that change in the program.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now, what's it like to play with Logan Drevich, and what's he like as a teammate, both on and off the ice? Because he's someone that I notice a lot whenever I watch Merrimack play.
Yeah, he's a really personally he's a really great guy off the ice. He's one of my good buddies here. But on the ice, yeah, he's got good vision, a good shot, great hands. He knows where to be. He's physical when he needs to be, and just things like that. And this year they kind of moved him to center, and he adapted to that this year with open arms. And unfortunately, he's battling the injury bug right now, but we're excited to get him back here soon. So
Now, you were talking about how large your freshman class was last year. How do you navigate some of the high pressure situations that you were put in as a freshman? Because that's something that some freshmen don't get to experience until they're like sophomores or juniors, just because they have so many upperclassmen on their team already.
yeah, I think I mean I was fortunate enough to be put in those situations, and at the same time, I think it was just confidence. Like the coaches having confidence in me that I'd be able to make the plays that I need to make and things like that. I think went go a long way and things like that. So um, and just my teammates knowing that my teammates are backing me up and being able to give me confidence as well are two big reasons that make it way easier to manage those situations.
And what's it like to play under Scott Borak, and what have you learned under him?
Yeah, he's a great coach. I mean, he makes us work, and that's something that he's been striving since we've been here. Um, I mean, we're obviously not a huge school, so we're not going to get the biggest name recruits every single year. So we just got to outwork those guys that go somewhere else. And I think that's always his mindset going into every single week that we're gonna every single weekend we're gonna out battle a team, and I think that's the right way to do it. And yeah, nothing but great things to say about him.
We're now in the non-hockey segment of the podcast where I ask you some non-hockey questions. My first one is, what music do you like to listen to?
Oh man, I like to listen to everything really. I'm not I grew up driving to a lot of rinks for a long period of time, so I would just put on the radio and I kind of just know a lot of different music, but nothing too specific that I listen to.
Now, the Super Bowl is coming up. Who do you think is going to win this Sunday?
I mean, being out in New England, probably you can't go wrong with Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, I think, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes is also a great quarterback too, so I think it'll be a good game, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go with Tom Brady. You can't go wrong with him. I've seen him so many times just win Super Bowls, and I think he's going to do it again with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh man. Uh, I don't know. I wouldn't clean freak, but I like my space is tidied and things like that. I mean, I'm not. like I said, I'm not a clean freak, but I also don't like when just stuff's everywhere at the same time. So I guess that'd be one of them.
And what is your favorite outdoor activity?
Yeah, I mean, I live on a lake at home, so I'm a big wake surfer, wakeboarder, water skier. We got jet skis at home, pontoon rides. So I'm a big lake guy. So I love doing that in the summer when get to go home for the summer and kind of take some time and just be with the family and be on the boat and get some sun on me.
What's the key for riding a jet ski? Because that seems fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like driving a car, so it's nothing too crazy. It's just a gas. There's no brake on it though, so you just got to be a little careful when you're driving those things around.
Definitely, definitely. I've always wanted to ride one, but I don't live near a lake, so I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of your teammates, who has the best style on the team besides yourself, obviously?
Best style on the team. I'm gonna have to go Regan Kimmins on that one. He's got good. He's always got good style. He's always rocking something crazy that I look at and I go, I don't know, but you can tell it's like fashionable and high style. So,
Now, who is the funniest on the team?
oh, we got a lot of guys. Uh, Jeez, funniest on the team. I think Christian Simeone's a pretty funny guy. I'd give it to him pretty much any day.
Now, back to some hockey questions now. My first one is, what advice would you give a younger player trying to pursue a Division I college hockey scholarship?
I think personally, advice that I would give is just have fun with it. I think a lot of kids at a lot of young ages, especially me, when I was 14, 15 years old, aspiring to play Division I hockey, obviously being from Detroit, we had kids committing at 15, 16 years old all the time. And it started just to get overwhelming, I think. And I think it's just like you have to remember that hockey's a game and you got to have fun with it. And everything happens for a reason too. And I think you just got to let the pieces fall. And obviously, like you're only going to get what the work that you put in. So you got to work hard for it. It's not going to come easy. So just those are the two things: hard work and have fun. I think are two big things that I try and tell people when they ask me that question.
Now, what should I do better as an interviewer to improve and make this podcast better?
Oh man, no, this was good. I'm no nothing really at all. Actually, that was a good. I like that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you have any message to all the Merrimack fans who are listening to this podcast? I know it's been unfortunate that they haven't been able to come to the rink, but do you have anything that you want to say to them?
Yeah, we miss you guys. So hopefully we get you guys back in the Lawler rink soon.
Any shout outs like to give to any of your teammates, family members, or friends before we let you go, Declan?
Yeah, I'll shout out my brothers, Kieran and Owen at home, and my parents at home, and my grandparents too. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Declan. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure getting the chance to meet you. Stay safe and good luck for the rest of the season. I'll definitely be watching you guys and I'll be promoting you guys as much as possible.
well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate your time.
No problem. Take care. Bye.
Yeah.